I was on a quick turnaround trip to Jacksonville, Florida, had about an hour and a half, 2 hours to kill, and I found this really amazing toy store called the Forgotten Toy Box. You must check this place out if you're in the area. It's absolutely amazing. I can't tell you the last time I was in a toy store that just had the variety that this store does. As soon as you walk in, this case right here has some of the more uncommon things, right? A lot of stuff still on card, stuff that's just really hard to come by. I mean, take for example, these Rock Lords, still on card, a bunch of uncommon wrestling Ninja Turtle. This Supernatural playset, you just never see. That was complete in box. And of course, I think maybe, I'm not quite sure, but the entire line of Supernaturals. And that's a really cool line. I have a few of those figures loose, and I need to talk about that here on my channel, give my thoughts and opinions. But I really love that line of action figures. But like I said, when you first walk in, you're just blown away. This is one of the first shelves right when you walk in the store, and you're like, okay, I see what they're working with here. So nice flex on their part. But I tell you, as you look at some of the footage, you'll see kind of what I'm talking about. And I'm not even sure this does it justice, but there's just so much to take in. You need a good hour, if not more, to go through this if you really want to see what all they have. Things that I just don't ever see, and stuff that kind of caters to everyone. And I did get a chance to talk to the owner. Try is the owner there. Thank you so much for letting me film inside, having some really cool conversations with you. He's a really neat guy. He was super busy, right? I mean, every time we would kind of start talking, the phone would ring and someone had a pile of stuff they wanted to trade in, asking me, hey, do you take this sort of thing? And then he would make some phone calls to maybe some regular customers. Hey, I've got this that came in. Maybe you're interested. So really, really neat. And so anyway, what he was saying is that if it was up to him, his store would be 100% 70s, 80s, 90s stuff, all retro vintage toys. But, over the years he's been open, he gets a lot of requests for newer things, G.I. Joe Classified, or sort of the Four Horsemen, Mythic Legion stuff, and the Valaverse things, and Star Wars Black Series. So he's kind of got some distribution partnerships with some of these manufacturers, and he's brought some of those lines in. So there's something for everyone. There's no stone left unturned. I mean, the guy has really done a fantastic job of stocking this place, and sometimes overwhelmingly so, because as you go through the shelves, you see here stuff's on the shelves, but you pull that box aside, it's something different behind there, right? It's not like duplicates of what's right there in the front. So incredible. Was really happy to see he had some Kenner Alien stuff. Those things are, you don't see them much anymore. I used to see them all the time, really, and it's few and far between these days. Something else that stood out to me, I love this little Demolition Man line of figures for whatever reason. I think that may have been the whole collection almost on card, just right there. And so, yeah, just really pleasantly surprised by this place. Was certainly overwhelmed. I'll kind of let the footage speak for itself. There's no doubt that there's things that I missed, but I was also working with limited space to be able to take things home. So that's fine, for me. Hopefully, if I'm ever back in Jacksonville, I'll bring a bigger bag to bring stuff home with. For as much stuff as he has in his store, he did a really good job of having it organized in a way that it was really easy to find. It's overwhelming because there's so much stuff, but as you maneuver through each section, it all kind of makes sense. It's like, oh, this is where I could probably find this. And of course, he was super helpful. If I had a question, hey, do you know where I could find, your Godzilla figures? He had a section for that, and he pointed me right in the direction. So listen, if you are in the Jacksonville area, if you're a toy collector, make it a priority to stop down at the store with some time to spare, because I promise you, there's just no way that you would leave empty-handed. It'd be impossible. So yeah, I'm gonna get into some of the things that I found there, and we'll talk a little bit more about some of the stuff I did see there as well. So one of the first things I saw when I walked in was this Galoob Golden Girl and the Guardians of the Gemstones Wild One action figure from 1984. I never see these still in the package. I've seen a few over the years loose, kind of worse for the wear, but I just love this thing, dude. And I think one of the big reasons why I gravitated towards this one is, I love collecting that 5.5-inch scale sort of off-brand action figure. And in this case particularly, Galoob's no off-brand toy company. They were a big player back in the day, but it's stuff that was meant to compete with Masters of the Universe and He-Man figures that just is not in that universe at all. And I find these much more interesting. And over the years, between the realm of the Underworld stuff and all the, sort of knockoff bootleg ones I've added to my collection, and this one fits right in. And it's a fun little line, and even more so that I was able to get it on card, just because the artwork's awesome. You've got the back of the card that has all 11 figures displayed how they come. And the way this line was supposed to work was there's all these different outfits, like 30 of them, I think, that you can change into. They did some play sets, but I dig it. It's just something really, really different. And as you can see, they did some male figures, but, this is just cool. I mean, maybe as a young kid, I would have been like, that's Barbie. But now looking back on it, I'm thinking how cool it'd be to have a bunch of these with all the different sort of outfits. And something quirky, something unique. The package is in good condition, but it's coming undone a little bit, so I may even open this one. We'll see. If I had room in my suitcase, I would have brought home that snake mask by Kenner and that huge Beetlejuice doll, but just didn't happen this time. The same could be said about this Power Loader and Queen by Super 7. I always thought this was really cool, but no room for that sort of thing. So that's why I was happy to find this little mummy Madball little guy, real small, super cheap, threw it in there at the end, and I was like, yeah, perfect spot for it. I know where to go, and it travels easy, so I was happy to find this thing. And I'm not sure I've ever seen that Deacon Prometheus statue. I think that's by Eagle Moss, but too big to take home. But just box upon box of things all over the place. Another Golden Girl, just a different one, but even showing NECA some love here at this store. This Talos statue is really cool from Jason and the Argonauts. No shortage of horror things, even little model kits. But one thing that stood out in his little horror section for me, and it's kind of a theme here, stuff I never see, is the mystery box, the laminate by Screamin'. So I'm a big fan of the Hellraiser films, especially the first 3. And that's why I find this piece so interesting, because it came out in 1991, is when Screamin', don't know much about Screamin', the company, but that's when they released this, just right before the 3rd film. And so I love that it comes from that era when the first 3 films were released. I think the first one came out in 87 or 88, something like that. And you see these days, right? 3D printed ones, people making their own. I think NECA maybe did a version, but you don't see the Screamin' version that often. And so really cool that it's one from the 90s. Again, it's totally worth your time if you get a chance to go to flip through all the pegs, really explore and look around. You don't know what's around every corner. There's stuff everywhere. And it was really cool to see these Leonard Aliens figures from a few years ago. I think these are going to be collectible. I just have a hunch that those are going to be harder to find over the years. Packed to the brim, loose Kenner figures for your customs. It just goes on and on. Even some of the Waterworld figures you don't see all that much. And Last Action Hero, there's something on every shelf in every corner. And in his Star Wars section, this caught my eye. This Galaxy Empire bootleg figure. We got a Han Solo figure here. I guess that's what they were going for, obviously. And it kind of reminds me of the Power of the Force Star Wars figures that Kenner did in the mid-90s. And I think that's when this is from. You've got the Millennium Falcon on the card with the Star Destroyer. So, I mean, these type of things I usually gravitate to because there's no way to really get a lot of information about them. It's a unique sort of thing that you don't come across much. So if I can ever find a bootleg or knockoff kind of figure, case in point with the Easy Ewok, man, I'm going to pick it up. So really cool find. Love me a bootleg. Such an amazing store. Can't say enough good things about it. Again, the Forgotten Toy Box Jacksonville, Florida. If you live there and you don't know about this place, I would find that very hard to believe if you're into this sort of thing. Go check it out. If you're in Jacksonville, in the area, it would be even more worth making a trip, driving a little bit if you're in the vicinity, to go check this place out. I can't recommend it enough. And also can't thank each and every one of you enough for stopping down and checking out this video and my time spent at the Forgotten Toy Box. If you're new here and you like the kind of stuff I talk about, do me a favor, share it with a friend, subscribe. That way you can stay up to date when I post new videos. Try to do one a month if time allows for it. And if you've been here for a while, since the beginning or relatively new, thank you so much for commenting, dropping a line. You know, same with this video. Did you see things that caught your attention that you would have picked up? What do you think of the stuff I found? Space was limited, right? So I was really happy with the little treasures I found. But again, it's like I always say at the end of my videos, let's be kind as we rewind and fast forward through time. Thank you so much for stopping by 2 Day Rentals.